Hi, welcome to the 23rd Udine Far East Film Festival, and thank you all for watching the film Drifting, which is screening as part of our Hong Kong New Talents program. My name is Kevin Ma. I am the host of this Q&A session. Joining us today, his first film was Tracy, and now he's directed his second feature film, Drifting. Please welcome writer-director Jun LI. Hi, Jun.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I know you're very busy promoting the film these days.
Yeah, it's been very hectic because this is the first week.
Right,
It's
right.
the second week of our distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start asking about the film. So it's based on your real experiences as a student journalist, right? Can you talk more about the background of the case?
So in 2012, when I was still a journalism student, so I worked for our practicum, our school magazine, and so we looked for different feature stories in Hong Kong, and in that article we talked about home. That was a three-part article. I was responsible for one of them. So I reported on the street clearance case in Sham Shui Po in Tung Chau Street. So what happened was, it was coldest day in the winter in 2012 in February the 15th, and one day the authority, the food and hygiene department and the police just came and got their beddings and belongings to the truck and drove away. So they were left there bare without protection. So they decided to sue the government. Like, some of them decided to sue the government for that operation. So this is the film basically about that event, based on the article that I wrote almost 10 years ago now. In the meantime of the case, we look into the lives and the dependency they had for each other while living rough on the street.
So how many of those characters are based on real people or based on real cases?
They're all based on real people, but just rearranged,
Okay.
fictionalized.
And it's actually quite a timely thing, right? Because even though the case happened in 2012, in the past years, there have been quite a few high-profile cases of, rough sleepers also getting their shelters being taken away, right?
Yeah, and they sued the government for the third time, because for the first and the second time they reached for conciliation. So there was no court ruling. So those operation keeps happening because there weren't any right or wrong ruling from the court. So that was what the government want. They want to remain. The reason they don't apologize, because they want to remain to be that how do you call that, the ambiguous area that they can do the clearance, because it's not illegal to live on the street. They are currently doing the third time, and I think this time it's harder to reach for the conciliation because of the change in attitude of the authority side.
So are they still, like in the film, the Feist's character, are they actually looking for an apology, or are they looking for a settlement?
They do look for a settlement. Of course, they look for an apology, but when the settlement, if the settlement come, well, we have to see what each individual's decision, because it's on them. It's not on any of us.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you set this in Sham Shui Po, and in the film you talk about that the new developments that are in Sham Shui Po, but there's a reason why there's so many rough sleepers in Sham Shui Po, right? Is they come from other districts in Hong Kong.
Because other districts are cleared too. It's like, say, in Yau Ma Tei, 10 years ago, people sleep on outside the fruit market, and now it's completely rebuilt into a pet park. How do I call that? Recreational use. So it's completely changed. So it's like basically in every area when there was like the huge redevelopment project, there is a change in habitat of the people who used to live there. Say in Kuntong, people now camping out in the Kuntong Pier because the whole center of Kuntong has been gentrified.
Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about writing this story. I mean, because each of the main character is very memorably crafted. I think each of the characters sort of have their own moment. So as a writer, how do you balance all these characters? And then as a director, how do you manage this ensemble cast?
I think I always prefer to write an ensemble cast. A story with different angles. A lot of personalities clashes each other in a given situation.
Was it hard to balance out each character's sort of how much time you spend on each character?
When I wrote it, I didn't think about it, but it's only when I was editing that I have to think about it. Because when you're writing, my style is kind of free flow, so I just keep writing. I don't think about proportion. I don't think about the traditional script writing techniques, but I write and then I edit it after I wrote the first draft, and then I gave that to my producers, and then they give me feedbacks, and then I rebalance the proportion of different characters. I think it's only when it came to editing that I found it really hard to balance out the story of each characters. But first of all, I didn't have I think a lot of the scenes are with all the people there. So it's not like I got so many different storylines. I got one storyline and maybe two subplots. So I think that's what makes it clean and comprehensible.
What about the directing on set then, of the actors, when you have so many people acting together? How did you manage that set?
They were great and cooperative, and most of the time I just sort of let them leave on the set, so they just be on the set and a lot of improv. So because a lot of them are trained professionally. So there are stage actors, so they have a huge variety of skills, and they are very trained to improvise. So basically I always be on the set early than the whole crew. So I go to the set, and I'd be lying on one of the sack ball. How do I call that? Because it's wavy.
Right.
Yeah. So I would be lying on one of the plays that Mokzai always sit on. Then people come, and then they found a place. So, and actors, they got prepared, and when Francis was waiting, he would always do that on the bench, the chair.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he would just be leaving in the set.
How many days did you guys have? Was it a longer shoot than usual? Because Hong Kong films are now shot on 20 days, right? But you guys
have 19 days.
19 days.
So it's standard.
Right.
So we had a standard shooting days.
And there was still room to do all these sort of improvisation. That's pretty amazing.
We spent very less time in setting up the scene. It's mostly the production set, less so on the lighting. I think it's easier to go for the improvisation than you want everything to be rehearsed. Rehearsal takes more time.
Right, so you guys didn't do any rehearsal before the shoot?
We didn't do any rehearsals.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we can manage to finish it in 19 days, I think.
Usually when people say, oh, we finish it in 19 days, we would do like 5 weeks of rehearsal to make sure we finish it.
Oh no, we
19
didn't
days.
have any rehearsals.
That's amazing. So let's talk about the casting. I mean, first of all, Francis gave an amazing performance. But then how did you put this cast together? Was it Francis that came first and then the rest kind of fell into place? Or how did you cast each actor for the roles?
Francis came first, then I forgot who
Loretta Lee
came second. I think it's either Loretta or Jack Won-ho, because Jack Won-ho has different collaboration with MM2, so he's got everything that I was looking for. So he has to be very skilled because it's a different accent that he's playing, and I could see him playing Master in very early on before he tried on that makeup. Yeah.
And then Ju Pa-hong came later.
Came later.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the day when I first saw him. He was nominated Best Actor of Golden Horse. So it was very late. I was asking him when he was preparing this, preparing for the casting. I was asking him, are you nervous about today's announcement? He was like, what announcement? Golden Horse. And he was like, it's not. He thought he stand no chance, but I saw the film and he didn't. So I was like, no, you're gonna be nominated.
And then he did.
And then he got the nomination after the casting.
Did that make him more confident when he did the?
It was very. No.
I mean,
he's a very bumpy
confident
process.
He's a confident because he's a stage actor, so he's very experienced to begin with, right?
Yes.
Films is a different format, different platform.
Yeah, but he was pretty new in the film industry.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have Loretta before we got Ju Pa-hong. I think we have Ju Pa-hong kind of very late.
Right.
After Ho Bu-leung and after Cecilia and Will.
Yeah, of course. And Will, I mean, what did you find? I mean, Will was on doing TV acting, but how did you decide on Will? Where did you find Will, or why did you choose him for the role?
We asked him to come for a casting. We met a lot of the young actors, and he's just the best to be that role.
So, one thing really interesting is that aside from Will's character, you don't really know how any of these characters ended up on the streets. Was that something that you had planned, or was that?
Well, you don't even know how he ended up on the street.
Right, but you know a bit more about his background.
Yeah, you know his background, but you don't know how he ended up.
Right.
On the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that kind of planned, something you intended to do, or was that just cut out the background stuff?
No, it was it was intended. Well, a lot of the things are edited out, but those are the things that are more daily. There are the scenes where street sleepers go to library to read.
Right.
For the sake of going to the library to read. So there's no. I plan to do a lot more daily scene than the work that I'm presenting now. But I never intended to depict the background of all these characters, because the background is the street, and
like you didn't want that background story to matter in terms of knowing these characters.
when we all know that drug use is the matter.
Right.
And I don't want to further elaborate that because drug use or the addiction itself is what I want to depict.
That's sort of the fact, it's like a matter of fact for it's like their daily lives, right? It's not
Yeah.
you don't need to go into sort of why they're doing it.
Because the reason is because of the addiction.
Right.
Addiction is a reason.
Right.
People try to look for a reason for the addiction, but addiction, it's physical.
Yeah.
It's a reason. So that's what my stand is.
I think what the film manages to do is that it makes the audience, there's a very thin line where we empathize with the character, but we don't look at them from sort of a pity point. We don't pity them, but we empathize with their lives. Is that something that you had in mind? Or a very careful sort of balance you have to make? Because it's easy to watch the film and go, these guys are, you kind of pity them, but then the film doesn't do it, right? I think it's quite non-judgmental about these characters.
I just did it in a very straightforward way. The only way that I know how to. Because I didn't even think much about the difference between the attitude that you just described.
Okay.
I just do it from my point of view, and this is my point of view.
Okay.
And I think it's existential.
Okay.
When I stand from the point of view of Cecilia's character, yeah. So I just do it from my point of view.
You talk about the production of the film. I mean, most of your film is set outdoors, which is incredibly difficult if you're shooting in Hong Kong, right? So, how did you balance the shooting what you want to shoot and sort of the resources that you're given? And was there any compromises that were made during the making of the film?
I really wanted to shoot the film in the original site of the event.
Okay.
But we couldn't get the permission to do that, to do so. So we got another site under the flyovers, and I have changed the script a little to make sense of that place, the main site of where they live.
The new habitat.
Yeah, I have to make sense of that. It's a walkable distance, but it's a little far away from Tung Tao Street. So I have to get used to that place a little. That's why I try to stay longer at the site to get used to it. Yeah, because it's normally if it's built that way, with all the hostile ground, a group of street sleepers won't stay over there. But it is, in the film, it's ironic that they sleep over there, and there's a very innate sense of drifting because you don't touch the ground. The wooden huts don't touch the ground because of the stones.
Right.
So it has a sense of drifting.
And that wasn't intentional.
Living on those stones.
Right.
It was ironic, but at the same time, it's filmic.
But the site, I read in an interview that the site was actually meant to be bigger, right, than originally meant to be bigger.
You mean
The new area, with the wooden shacks.
It's not. What do you mean by meant to be?
Was it originally? Did you plan it to be bigger than it is in the film? Was it the scale? Was it supposed to be bigger?
The scale was supposed to be bigger, but we don't have the resource to do it. The scales of the wooden fences, the scales of the habitat, not the scale of the bridge.
Right.
The bridge is a very.
It's there, yeah. You can't.
It is a large area, so we struggle to fill that up. That was one of the concerns because it was very big. I was like, would our living space look so little because because of the height of the flyover, because of the scale of the area. But I think it ended up quite well.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, it comes off really natural, like a very, very well planned area.
It just have a very unique texture.
Yeah.
It's not what I imagined when I was writing the script, but it has its uniqueness.
Did it create sort of this controlled environment that made it sort of easier for the actors to work in because you had this habitat that's there?
Yeah, we were very separated from the outside world because people won't come over here.
Right.
It feels like an indoor interior
Like a studio set.
studio.
So, Hong Kong is a very commercial film industry, but neither of your films really sort of fit in the mainstream convention, especially in Hong Kong. So when you make a film, do you think about the market or the audience that you're making it for? Because there's been a long discussion about making films for local audiences with local topics. Is that in your mind? Is that something that's conscious?
Yes, that's why I used professional actors. With a large number of very famous actors. I mean, a lot of professional actors are not that famous, but I use very famous actors for very unconventional stories. I think there is an attempt to do that, to widen the market for more realist drama. I think it's just really just is the situation in Hong Kong that we are really very keen on action films and genre films.
Yeah.
We got a very tiny market for art film, but at the same time, I don't want to give up on the mass audience. I do think the mass could change. That is what I'm currently at, but maybe that would change too.
I mean, you're kind of different from other directors of a generation, whereas their first films might have been, they've gotten a grant from the government or some kind of program, but your first two films weren't. I mean, you didn't really have that support, but you still managed to make two feature films. Are you? And you talked about how hard it is for them to find their second and third film. So, do you feel more confident for your future as a filmmaker, seeing that you didn't have to go through that route to get your first two feature films?
No, I don't feel confident at all. I always feel like this could be my last film. I have no idea how that happened because I have no idea how that happened. I just keep trying because it's not that I don't want the ground. I keep failing, and I was just the one who didn't give up after failing to get the ground. So I'm very used to lose, and but to lose, but at the same time to get on my feet to try to get the project done. I don't see the very fundamental difference between the path. There is there are some differences, but I think we face very similar situation. So it's hard for everybody to make the second or third before they are really established. The first one could be easier. The second and the third one would be the very bumpy one, I think.
So now that you made two films, you're no longer a quote-unquote new director anymore. But when you look back, I mean, what quality or qualities do you think a new filmmaker in Hong Kong has to have to survive in this industry?
I think we are all different. So I don't think there is something essential. To be optimistic, I think we all share that a bitter happy. How do you call it? bittersweet.
Bittersweet?
How do you try to find the happiness in all this bitterness？ to 苦中作樂啊？點講？我哋
finding joy in misery, right? I don't know if misery is too strong of a word.
Yeah, 苦中作樂 is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And
Try to find a silver lining.
yeah, because we are very different, and I always prefer variation. So I don't see a quality that one must have to become a new director in Hong Kong.
Well, that's all we have time for today. I want to thank Jun for talking to us, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for coming to the film.
Okay, bye. That's it.